Welcome to Quebec Corner. This episode of Hytale Theory Talk is sponsored by Server Pro. Server Pro has everything you need to host the next big Hytale server. With custom host names and support for modding and scripting, why not start your adventure today and grab a Minecraft server that you can swap over once Hytale is launched. Hytale is bound to have a vast story with clashing races and various interlacing plotlines. But after a good few months of research, I think I've finally nailed down a solid theory of the base world and the character relationships within it. But to understand all of that, we should probably take a little step backwards. Hytale is set on the planet of Orbis, one of multiple planets in a solar system like Ring. From blog posts, we know that the main antagonist of the series will be Varen, a dark magic, void-wielding fiend. And, from what we've seen in the concept art, this elegantly dressed being named Gaia acts as the planet's protector. Now, Gaia is clearly important to the races of Orbis. Not only do they worship her, but a lot of them even carry around tree-like symbols that we've come to learn are the symbols of Gaia herself. She's clearly done something either really powerful to impress these guys, or saved the world in some way with her incredibly long hair. Better yet, perhaps she's the one that made the planet of Orbis itself. With all these races praising her actions, you'd sure think she'd be around to fend off all these evil spawn and void creatures that are now appearing. Except she isn't? She's nowhere to be seen, well, other than a few ancient statues. In fact, it seems like the void creatures and the threat Varen poses to the world is already heavily ingrained in the culture of each zone, suggesting that Varen has been at large for a long period of time. So what, is Gaia just choosing not to act? Perhaps the answer's a bit more sinister. What if Gaia isn't here at all? This dark green octopus clearly has some not so humble intentions for the people of Orbis, so it would make a lot of sense that he'd want to dispose of the greatest threat to his plans. Seriously, it'd be a lot easier to corrupt a planet or whatever he's doing if the all-powerful, benevolent god who has control over all the elements was out of the way. Gaia's absence provides a perfect opportunity for Varen to hop on over and soak up all that lovely life juice, or whatever he's after. But how did he do it, and how do we have any chance of saving her? Well, there's two things that Varen would have had to do to achieve his goal. The first one is drain all of Gaia's power, and the second is to physically remove her from the space that she resides in. As luck would have it, spotlights have featured Gaia's temple heavily. This appears to be a central location to the story, and what do you notice? There's a tower for each of the elements, suggesting that some core or source of power dwells within each. What do we see within almost every race's depiction of Gaia? She's drawing power from her coloured gems, perhaps wielding the respective element. With no magic power, it sure would provide a great opening for an assault. Cue the corrupted golem. At the end of Zone 1, it's expected that the sentient tree race, the Quebecs, will lead us to the temple. We know that we're probably going to have to kick the corruption out, but what if that wasn't what's going to happen at all? Hear me out. What if the corruption wins? What if we fail to protect the temple, and Varen does away with all of the elemental stones, and even worse, Gaia herself, leaving the world completely defenseless and spinning the player into an epic quest to reclaim them and save her? Need more evidence? How about this? Varen's symbol is all too recognizable, but the Varen contained suggests that he was once imprisoned or subdued. Could this be hinting to an original battle that prompted the races of Orbis to worship Gaia in the first place? Perhaps the original feud is why Varen wants to take Orbis as his own. More importantly, perhaps there is a symbol for Gaia contained. Now he's the one who's trapped her, tables turned. One concept art shows us the temple of Gaia, but in the form of a dungeon. What do you notice here? The background. The background is in space, otherwise known as the Void, with none other than Gaia herself, lifeless and in a deeply induced slumber. She looks powerless, completely drained. What's more, the leaves on the trees have changed hue, suggesting a seasonal transition, almost as if the temple is now suspended in time or the Void. Maybe it's even Varen's homeworld, the neighbouring planet of Nexus. But hold your horses there, Connor. Varen's homeworld? Where even is Nexus? What are all those motivations that Varen's supposed to have? Well, stay tuned for the next video, where we'll uncover all of that and more on Hytale Theory Talk. Thanks for watching Quebec Corner, stay safe and keep free.